Hello everyone, welcome to this video of One Stone Creative. Today we are talking with Diane Ralston, a veteran IT professional and the owner of Grow Social, a community management company, and also theminionqueen.com. Danielle, thank you so much for joining me on the call today.
I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. Well, I would love for you to just share for a few minutes a little bit more about your companies, how you came to start them, and what you do, how you serve people.
Well, I actually started in the IT world, and I actually am the managing director, no ownership whatsoever, in a IT service provider, and I still do that, but I only do that part-time now. I've started my own businesses, one of being growsocial.com, which we do community management and also some marketing between vendors and IT pros. It's specifically in the IT world. We have about, I think, 3 or 4 communities right now, our busiest being 3 million hits a month and about 10,000 posts a month. We're about a little over 1,500 users at this point. And then I own my own business called theminionqueen.com. Mm-hmm. The Minion Queen name was a joke in the IT world for a few years, and it started as a joke. Somebody changed my name on an IT community picking on me, and within a week I received my first crown. I now have 9 of them that have been sent to me. I haven't bought any of them, and if you can see on the wall behind me, I have my favorite 8 of my minions, but I have about 147 minions that people have sent me as well.
So. Amazing. That is some pretty high-level engagement that you're getting from the people you connect with.
Yes, exactly.
And so I'd like to start with that because, I mean, you are the management community queen. And so tell me, what do you find is kind of really different about like a managed community rather than one that grows up organically, say on Facebook, when you've got a paid membership community where people are really investing in the process of being there? What do you find is the best way to engage people?
Really, it's about making sure you know what your purpose for the community is. Mm-hmm. For us in our IT community, we're talking about IT all day long. We bring in news articles talking about IT. Mm-hmm. We bring in vendors to bring it and talk about their products to IT pros. But the biggest thing is just allowing them to ask their questions, because we're a community of 1,500 IT pros. We can allow them to ask us questions so that they can learn from us. We can learn from each other. We can find out what's new out there, because not every person knows every single thing. So
of course,
having that community feeling and being able to really connect with one another and train one another is amazing.
Okay, and getting to that point, because that's the gold star, right? That's you want your community to be supporting each other and really giving you direction on the content to create for them. What did you find there was a critical mass of people that you needed, or when did kind of the community start taking over that aspect of it for you?
We needed about 100 people to be consistently posting before we finally didn't have to instigate every single post and be involved in every single thing. Now with the amount of posting, I think I maybe post 3 times a week. I just have to watch things. I don't really have to participate quite as much anymore. And I'm there for social connection. And that's what I focus on now, and less promoting posts or starting posts myself. So it really took about 100 people to get to that point.
Okay. And when you were still getting up to that point, kind of the early stages up to that first 100, what kind of, how much were you generating yourself, and how much were you kind of curating from elsewhere in the world?
Oh, I think pretty much everything was curated from elsewhere in the world. I mean, I work in IT, so there would be a question that we'd have a user ask us, and we're like, oh, we need to put that in the community because that'll start a conversation.
Yeah.
So it was kind of about 50-50 split between us starting them ourselves and finding it elsewhere.
Perfect. And just to swing around back to something you said just a minute ago, is being really clear on that purpose for the community. Can you talk through that process? How do you identify a purpose for a community?
Really, is you as the owner need to start out with doing, as the Minion Queen, I do personal branding profiles and to help people find what their message is. Knowing what that is your single most important piece to start. Because if you don't know what your message is, you can't communicate it well to somebody else. And that's not going to translate well, especially in a community.
What would you say are the characteristics of a really good kind of main thing to start a community around?
Make sure that you have one single focus. Don't try to be everywhere with everything, because you cannot, one person can't be a master of everything.
Yeah.
You end up being a master of nothing at that point. So make sure that you have one particular focus. So if that's encouraging people, make sure that you're encouraging your specific group that you're looking at, not only knowing what your message is, but knowing what specific group you want to work with, knowing your customers and knowing what they want is a very big piece of it.
Okay, so it's kind of almost like taking your topic area and then the special thing that you bring to it that really separates you from everything
Correct.
else. Perfect. Very cool. And now that you've got this critical mass, your hundreds and hundreds of active members, how does that influence content that you create either for the community or elsewhere? Or does it influence the content that you create?
I don't even have to create content anymore, which is amazing. I have somebody that posts whatever relevant news is in IT. There's some things going on, like somebody gets hacked, an airline gets hacked today. Of course, we're going to put that up. But honestly, that's the end of us creating the content. The community really drives where the conversation goes now. We don't have to be super on top of it. I can take a vacation now. I don't have to be watching every minute of every day. We have people all over the world posting. So literally 24/7, the community is keeping itself going. It takes just as long as I'm available and part of the community and I don't lose touch with my members. That's really the biggest thing now. And that is just as important, obviously, that you really connect with your members and keep that connection live. Don't just back away and let it happen.
Right. And so how, as you were growing the community and as it continues to grow, where do you find the members who are really, excited to pay to be a part of a community like this? Where do you find them? How do you promote to them? What makes them want to join?
Because of the level of content. We're very, very careful to keep things at a pro level and not down at a basic user level. We really make sure that the news articles that we bring in and the conversations that we do start, even though they're few and far between, are at that level. We also provide trainings and things like that to them to give them more opportunities to really interact and things. And we've actually done an IT conference. We had our second one 3 weeks ago, and we record all of the videos. And now we have video content that we can promote, and we have a channel for that. So we can use that on social media and be talking about that, as well as whatever popular posts are going on. We're promoting those on social media as well. We really don't have to go after members. It's just doing what we would normally do, being social.
Okay, and if you were to say, and I mean, of course, it's going to vary for industry, but if you had one kind of channel or platform that was external to your community, what's the biggest source of interest in your community?
Facebook.
just straight up Facebook. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
I would say and I have social media customers and other management customers that I do things for. Facebook is number one across the board, no matter what the industry is at this point still.
And what does that look like? Like, where is it groups or is it ads? Like, how does Facebook work for you?
For us, we just have a business page up and we promote ads. When we have a really popular post, we promote it. If we have a really popular video, somebody's recorded for a local meetup, or somebody's gotten together and done like a Zoom interview or things like that, we promote those. Really, that's all there is to it. There isn't a whole lot of time and effort put into the Facebook. It's just promoting what's already from the community. Okay, and learning how to reuse the content that's already there.
That is really, really cool, because now your community, as you're saying, it generates the content to support itself, and it also creates your promotional content.
Correct.
That is really, really cool. So let's talk a little bit about, I know you've got other communities as well, and you have a community management company. What would be some things you'd say if they think, I really want to have a paid membership community for my business, as part of my business? What should they know kind of as they're planning a brand new paid community?
Make sure that you plan out 5 years in the future today. Don't start until you plan 5 years. Absolutely. Biggest things that we've seen with companies that want to do something like that, they start on a free WordPress community. And they want to, now we need to upgrade because now the free stuff won't work for us. You want to know what you can't do? You can't upgrade that. You're going to lose your content if you upgrade. You are stuck. Yes, you can have somebody manually move every single conversation thread, every single thing, but that is where you're at. Okay. Example, I had a customer that needed something like that done. It was just an internal company community, but they needed it moved. It cost them about $30,000 to have it moved.
Oh, no.
This is why you plan for the future.
Okay.
The platform that we actually used something that was very bleeding edge at the time when we started 4 years ago. So it had a lot of technical issues to start.
I bet.
But now that community can grow with us, and it is growing with us. I mean, we started with, I think, 10 users at first. And if we would have started something that suited those 10 users, we wouldn't have been able to upgrade to our 3 million hits a month.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have professional email in place to start. Do not go with free email. Do not go with email hosted from your web hosting company. Email should be completely external from anything else you do. And it is super important because all of those passwords for setting everything up in the community, if it's tied to the free hosting that you just bought, you're in trouble later. And we've actually had people lose access to things. The other thing that you should never do is you never should buy your domain name, your email, and your hosting all in one. So buy your domain name from GoDaddy or whoever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you're going to buy it from. Host it with somebody else, and your email should be completely separate. So that if you ever lose one piece of it, if something ever happens, you still have a way to communicate with your users.
Okay, I think you probably just saved everyone who is listening to this hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of their career. Thank you for that.
And if you want your community built into a website, that's something that you need to consider ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I know people are like, I just want to start this. I want to do it. And I'll just do it myself. You're going to cause yourself all kinds of issues later on. If you try to do the free thing or the cheap thing, you really need to start on solid ground. You need to invest in order to be able to grow. If you do not invest now, you are not going to grow. You are not going to grow properly, and it could cost you $20,000 later on down the road if you have to.
So, brass tacks, what kind of investment is someone looking at the beginning if they want to, plan for 5 years and really solid, steady growth?
It can be as little as $80 or $20 a month. You can do it, but you need to make sure that you're planning and making those decisions ahead of time of how the community is going to be used. Is it going to be used inside your WordPress site? Is it going to be used? Are you just going to do it on Facebook? But you still have to have a website component because it's against rules on Facebook to have a paid Facebook community. But you can do it through your website and only give access to people as you invite them and things like that. There are ways to do it, but make sure that you know what your path is now. Because if you don't do it right now, you're going to pay later. And heartache. I mean, losing community members because you've caused issues because you didn't do it right in the first place.
Okay, that is so fantastic. And I'm really happy that it can, be at that $20 a month level. Because, if you're, so many people are going to be scared off if it's like, oh yeah, no, you're $10,000 right now. We'll set you for the next 5 years, but you can still kind of scale up, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The community that we use for the IT community, it cost us, at first, I think we spent $15 a month to host it. And the software itself was free. Cool. And then $15 a month to host it. But I had to pay somebody to build it and do it. And that cost me, I think it cost me about $1,500 upfront. But now I can scale to anything I want. And that website has now been moved to 4 different hosts. It's been moved through 4 different hosting levels and actually a completely separate hosting company now. And now it's still only with as much activity as I have, only costing me $80 a month.
That is really, really fantastic to hear. Okay, so what if you can share, what tech do you use? What did you start with, and the technology for your community?
We actually use a platform called NodeBB. It is phenomenal. You can put it inside of another website if you want. That does take a lot of technical ability, and you're going to want to hire somebody for that. I've also seen companies use WordPress has a couple different templates you can do inside of a WordPress site.
Yeah, I've heard of BBPress and
BBPress. And BBPress is okay, but again, you need to know where you want to grow that community to. Because if you don't, BBPress is not going to be active enough and fast enough. It's going to start to slow down and bog down very, very quickly if you don't have things configured correctly, and it will only scale so much. That is not a platform that's going to scale to millions of hits a day.
Okay. So would you have any advice for the tech shy on how to get things going? Assuming that, say, after in year 2, they can hire someone to make it great, what should they do for year 1 to make sure that they are still going to be able to grow?
Then still invest now. You can invest a very little amount. So my company, Grow Social, will help you build a platform, a very basic platform for $250. Okay. That doesn't include your hosting. Yeah. But $250 to build it out for you. And it's just a basic setup. But it's a basic setup to start. If you want to grow and do that, then you're on a platform that can grow and do that. There are others out there, I can't really think of what their names are off the top of my head, that do the same thing. Yeah. But make sure that you're starting. And yeah, a lot of people, like I said, want to start for free, but that's going to hurt you in the end.
Yeah, and I think if you're building an asset that's going to be, as you say, it's going to end up generating its own promotion, it's going to take care of itself, putting a little in up front is a good use of your ability, of your money.
And like I said, it'd be really basic. It may not be pretty at first, but you can work on pretty later.
I like that. Work on pretty later.
Pretty is not priority number one. And especially women, where I was like, but we want it to look good. Well, this is a case of you can't afford, if you can't put the money, $1,500 into it right now, it's not going to look good. But at $250, it can work. And working means you're earning money off of it, which means you can spend more money to make it pretty.
I love that. That is fantastic. Okay, thank you for this tech sidebar. I want to talk a little bit more about content again. Do you find kind of running these communities, I know you have a couple of other communities as well, are there patterns to engagement, like on topic or day of the week or time of day, just anything that you've noticed that kind of stands out as you as, hey, this is interesting?
Honestly, you need to make sure that your site is up, available, and not even down at night. No matter what time you post things, obviously anytime, I'm on the East Coast, so 9 a.m. to about 3 p.m. is ideal times for posting anything, because that's when people are trolling on the internet. But after probably 2 weeks, we started to have people reading at night when they were at home. And this was a business-based site. So we have a business-based community, something that they're doing using to use their day job. Now, those guys are posting on the weekends in 24/7 because they enjoy hanging out. We have a "What are you drinking now?" thread. We have "What are you watching now?" thread. We have a "What are you doing now?" thread, which usually is filled with all kinds of ridiculousness.
Okay, well, that's really, because I mean, you started with your core purpose, you know, you really, and the community, it sort of branched out into the casual, the water cooler kind of stuff.
Yes.
What was that growth pattern like? How did that happen, kind of over time?
I was seeing actual discussion threads that had important content turn to what they were doing right now. They're sitting staring at a screen watching a progress. But I mean, I saw that too much of this just social connection stuff. I'm like, oh, I need to provide a place for that. And we needed to provide places for them to discuss their favorite movies, their favorite books that had nothing to do with what they were doing, their favorite games. So we actually we called it the Water Closet. And the Water Closet has all of those weird, cruddy threads. Water Closet. That are just for hanging out and just having fun. And they create them as willy-nilly. I mean, they have one that's all memes. The whole entire thread, whatever meme they found today that they liked.
Awesome. And so you kind of watched and monitored what people were doing and then added a little structure for what was happening anyway.
Yes.
That'd be accurate. Yeah.
To keep your true content where it belongs. And that's part of it. In order for search, being able to be searching in Google and things like that, you want your true content to be that content. You want it to be structured so that it can be found. But having those fun threads, there's nothing wrong with that, but give them a place to do that. Because you want that social connection. That's a very, very important part of the community.
Right. And do you think it would have worked the same way or been as effective if you'd started with that level of structure, or is it better that you saw that it was needed and then added it after?
I think it depends on your community. Starting with that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just giving them a place to start that. Then they get in the habit of that and it doesn't end up other places. So certainly nothing wrong to starting that.
Okay, cool. And so your membership community, this one is set up as a forum. So I think most people are going to be familiar with the structure of a forum. What would you say is kind of the main difference between that and other types of groups? Like you might see one on Facebook or you might see one on LinkedIn. So what's kind of the forum, the superpower of the forum?
Number one superpower of the forum is you can go back and you can find content later on easily. We do that through meta tagging. So when somebody just hashtags, just like you do anything else, or somebody puts a hashtag in for whatever the conversation is going to be. So if they're talking about the new Star Wars movie, there's a Star Wars hashtag. So you type in Star Wars in the search bar, and now you can find all of the conversations about Star Wars. And same thing, because our biggest community is an IT community. They'll talk about HP and Dell, and they put those hashtags in to make it super easy to find. A Facebook group, as soon as you post something, you're lucky if you can find it again after 15 minutes if you're busy. That's a really big deal. That's
a powerful tool.
That historic content is impossible to find on Facebook. LinkedIn is a little bit easier, but not much. So that gives you the ability to really have historical stuff. You also can share files a bit easier and things like that.
That's nice. Yeah, really, really nice.
and you can have a full discussion. The flow is a lot easier on our communities. When somebody asks a question, you can hit quote and quote that question to answer that specific question again, instead of you've got 20 people have posted since then and they have nothing to do with the original question asked, and trying to find where the answer is to that. Being able to have a quote feature is huge to really being able to provide good content and a good flow to the content.
Fantastic. So I'm getting to the end of the questions that I have for you. This has been really, really interesting. I've got a two-parter. So someone is starting a community. One thing they should absolutely do and one thing they should absolutely not do.
Again, plan for the future. That's absolute number one. It doesn't matter what kind of your community is or how small or big it's going to be. Plan 4 or 5 years from now. And something that they absolutely should not do is wait to start. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait. Make sure you have that plan in place and just do it. Because again, it doesn't have to be pretty to start. It just has to be there. And you have to have content. If you don't have content and other people other than just you being the only poster is not good content for anybody, because nobody wants to hear you talk all the time.
Okay, so someone is starting out like totally from scratch and they're building their whole business and they want to plan for 5 years. What's their action plan for getting ready to launch that paid membership community?
First, have your structure in place. So what is the purpose of the community? Know your purpose, know your audience. Once you have that figured out, start with a few basic topic areas to cover, and maybe populate each topic area with one thread, just to give somebody an idea of what it's going to be like. Maybe if you're going with a forum, there's a lot of people that don't know how to use a forum. Record a quick video of how to use the forum. Yeah. It'll take you 2 minutes to do it, but make sure that you're showing that it is easy to use.
I like that.
And then start talking about it. That's what social media is for. Talk about, my community is going to be ready in 2 weeks. And your community, before you start talking about it, should actually be ready and be done. Don't be counting on somebody else to be doing something for you. Snafus happen all the time. We all know how that works. But make sure that you're planning that out ahead of time so that when you start talking about it, it's actually already ready.
Perfect. And my very last questions before I get you to share how everyone can learn more about you and get in touch with you. What do you think is a good price point for a membership community?
It really depends on your community that you're going after. Who are you going after as a customer? I've seen communities as little as $20 one-time fee. I've also seen them as much as $100 a month. It really just depends on who your ideal customer and target audience is. For most small businesses, I would start out I would start with a lower price point because you're not going to have much to offer anybody.
Fair enough. And what is your opinion on getting things started with a bunch of free beta members?
There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. I have done that myself. I actually started a Facebook group which will move into an online group. I very purposely started it in Facebook so that I could show the value that I would be providing and stuff and get them interested. And then I will be building out a forum. And those that are part of that Facebook group will automatically become members without having to pay for it.
Now, there's a really wonderful idea. If you're watching this and you're thinking, I want to do this, but I'm not sure if I can maintain it, support it, keep the interest in it, do exactly what Danielle says. Start a Facebook group, generate the interest, and then move them over. Great, great tip.
Exactly.
Perfect. Well, okay, so people have heard you. People have liked you. You have blown open our minds from the tech perspective. Where do they go to find more?
So for the easiest way to reach me completely easily is theminionqueen.com. You can reach me on there. My email's there. Reach out, contact me, schedule some time to talk to me. I have my calendar on there. Or you can reach me on Grow Social, growsocial.com as well. Both are easy ways to reach me, but the Minion Queen is where my love is and where I spend most of my time.
Fantastic. Danielle, thank you so much. This has been great, and I'm sure people are going to be visiting you at theminionqueen.com.
I look forward to it.